What we don't understand is that if we don't act and consider that somebody else will do it for us, that is what is happening. Suppose if you have a group of people and if you tell them to shout at once any word, suppose you tell them to say ah together. So if every individual of that group thinks that somebody else will do it, in the end you won't be hearing any sound as such that you were asking them to do. So what we always our mindset is conditioned in this way that always there's someone else who will do it for us. If food comes on our plates, obviously someone else will do it. What's our responsibility is? I mean, our responsibility over here is to just make money and to purchase food, fruits, vegetables for a family and for us, for me, for myself. But what's my responsibility in this entire scenario is just somebody else has to do it, so he will do his job, wherein I will get the things that I need with the money I have, obviously. But what we are missing over here is that we do have a responsibility in this entire picture. So we don't consider our responsibility in the category of corruption, because our minds are conditioned in a way wherein corruption for us is just that taking bribe or giving bribe to somebody else. That is what corruption majorly it. I mean, obviously it meant the same thing to me as well. So I would not deny it. But once I heard Sadhguru saying it, his words wherein it actually did hit my very being when he mentioned that not owing your responsibility is also act of corruption, wherein you are just making sure somebody else will do it. So it's not always giving or taking bribe is corruption. Even even if you forsake or you abandon your responsibility that you have or that you are required to owe, and if you don't do it, that is corruption too. So over here, if we forsake our responsibility to soil that we have for soil that we have, and we don't act what we have to, what it's meant to be done in this very moment to prevent soil from dying, to prevent this disaster, to prevent this destruction to happen, which is happening obviously, but it will be getting exacerbated, worsened in the next coming times. So, do we want this to get worsened? Do we want this to get more preposterous, or do we act now and make sure that we are honest citizens, we are responsible citizens, we are responsible human beings, as we have responsibility for our own mother, our very biological mother. We know it, right? We want to do something for her. We at times we make money, we try to do everything possible to fulfill the dreams of our mother and father. But what about the mother who has given us this very body, bones and blood, flesh, everything, and the spirit too? Do we forsake her, or do we act for her? If we don't, you and I, we are corrupt in earthly sense. In other sense, obviously we are. It just we don't want to admit that we are in all the ways corrupt. You and I, if we don't speak or act or do anything to prevent this soil extinction, as it happens, we are killing the biodiversity in the soil. It is not in a way that is helpful for our generations to come, who will know us only for the disaster that we have brought on their plates. This tragedy, this tragic times that we are heading towards, and that is what we are creating for the masses to come, for the children who are yet unborn, for them we are creating it. So, to make sure we consciously try at least to create a world wherein we have taken the ownership, the responsibility for our very own mother, this planet, earth, soil. If you don't, then there's no point being called a son. Being a biological son or a daughter is obviously, it comes with responsibility. And if we forsake that, we are corrupt in many ways. But when we forsake and abandon the responsibility that we owe for the very source of our creation, of our body, mind, flesh, and everything, then what would be the term that we would give to ourselves, or how would we would actually, we will fail in our own eyes. We will actually have a downfall, not in physical terms but in very spiritual terms. We will be falling. So if you don't want this fall, if you want to make sure that soil is saved, it's enriched, we have a rich soil for us and the coming generations, we need to act in any way we can, in any way you can act for this cause, to make sure you make aware the people around you that soil is dying. It's not just piece of inert material. It's not just we can create it by adding chemicals to it. It has its own intelligence. It has living beings, zillions in number. If they are gone, we'll perish. You and I will perish. So let's save soil. Let's make sure we take actions now, be it verbal actions, emotional actions, actions through an energy, bodily actions, spiritual actions, whatever you want to take it. Just make sure you take it, and or else we are corrupt. You and I are corrupt if we forsake this very responsibility. Save soil. Action now. Let's make it happen.